Hi, this is a forward before the main video. This video is a little bit of an unusual one for me. It's going to serve a few purposes. First of all, it's a kind of a cautionary tale. What can go wrong if you aren't careful when you're solving these kinds of puzzles? Secondly, I'm going to take the puzzle apart entirely, show you all of the internal pieces so you'll get a bit of an idea of how these kinds of puzzles are put together. Thirdly, I'm going to claim that I solved the puzzle. You can make your own mind up about whether that's true or not. Fourthly, you're going to discover my inadequacies as a puzzle solver. Again, you can form your own views on that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now over to me to introduce the rest of it. Hi, I'm the Lockpicking Cuber, and in this video I'm going to have a look at the Combination Padlock by Jean-Claude Constantin. It's a beautiful, almost all wooden puzzle. There are some metal screws and a little pin there, I think, and some other pieces, rivets and pieces that hold it together, but otherwise it seems to be made entirely out of wood. I got it from this little French company called Atu Cubes, I guess. I don't quite know how to say that. It's a really cool website, actually. They sell a lot of Rubik's Cube type puzzles, but also puzzles like this, mechanical puzzle. Okay, so let's have a look at this. We'll pick this open, see what it's like. Okay, so the shackle on this one is really tightly held in place, and I just noticed, this pin here just falls out under gravity. It doesn't come all the way. That's as far as it goes, but I'm going to guess that's going to do something. And does the dial turn? No, the dial feels pretty stiff. Alright, so let's have a go. See if we can figure this out. So the dial doesn't turn at all. I can't pull on it. It's very flush up against the body of the padlock. The shackle has almost no give at all. Just tiny bit of movement in there. Kind of wondering if it's obviously these kind of glued, laminated pieces. There's a sort of slight misalignment here, which just makes me wonder if that's related. Do they sort of pull apart? No, I guess not. We also get these two little slits in the back. Can you see down there? And there's something metal, like another tiny little screw or a ball bearing or something that's in there. And I think, yeah, the same in that one. I guess this is just the other end of this. It looks sort of like a nail, or I guess it's maybe a screw. And the pin being out or in doesn't seem to make any difference to my ability to turn the dial. Okay, so no obvious starting points. So I guess that means I have to try the usual kinds of tricks, spinning it and banging it and turning it in different directions and that sort of thing. Doesn't make any difference which way up it is. Oh, wait, what changed? What did I do? I mean, I guess I turned it in 3 directions. Now the dial turns. Was it that sequence of directions? Pin still comes out. Dial turns very stiffly. So this is back to where it started. Something tells me I'm breaking the rules here. I don't think I'm really doing the right things. Oh. Okay, so one of the screws that came out of here has now fallen back away. But is that supposed to happen? Or have I just damaged it? I don't know. Can I just unscrew this from the other one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what are the chances that this is what I'm supposed to do? Not great, I'm thinking. Okay, so I went the whole hog. I took the whole thing apart. I think I get how it works from having seen it. I mean, you can't tell from this now because you don't see how the pieces all relate to each other. There was indeed a ball bearing in there. I don't think there's any magnets. I think the ball bearing was just being constrained by friction. It was held in a pretty tight tunnel, and that was what I was confusing with a magnet. Now I'm going to see if I can put it all back together again, and then, well, let's see if I can solve it, given that I've seen the insides of it. That is obviously cheating, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, so my plan is I'm going to get it back together. I've got the video, you can't see it, but over here I'm watching the video of me disassembling it, which hopefully will help me get these similar pieces in the right order. And I will speed this up so that it isn't too boring. Okay, here we go. Okay, so haven't quite finished yet, but I just wanted to show the state of it here, just to explain a couple of things. So I'm pretty sure I've got all of these layers in the right way around. You can see in the back here where the ball bearing lives. You can see that also it runs through down this channel this way, but that there's a little dip in the middle, so it can drop down into that dip. And it can also drop down this way. So I'm guessing these are the movements that are needed, although I must say I don't understand why. Even having got this apart, I don't understand how it works. In fact, I'm less sure about it now than I thought I was earlier. But at least I'm understanding what's happening with this ball bearing. And then on the other side, the pin, well, wait, sorry, there are two pins, right? There's this pin which we could see, which stuck out through the back, through this hole here. And then this one, which we predicted was there, but couldn't actually see. And this is the one that stops it from, stops the dial from turning when the padlock is upside down. So it goes through the dial, the back of the dial here. This is connected via these two screws to this. So this can only turn if this can turn. This can turn when the pin is dropped down in there, but if we tip it up this way and the pin sits like this, then it stops this wheel from turning. So that's what that's for. So we'll leave that in there. This also sits in here and allows the pin to drop all the way through when the dial is in a certain position. Okay, I have now got the puzzle back together again. These last two screws were tricky, but it turned out my son had one of those screwdrivers used for taking the backs off MacBooks, and I don't think these screws were designed for that, but it fit nicely, so that did the job. So I'm pretty sure the puzzle is now back in its original state. Everything seems okay. The wheel turns. Let's just make sure it doesn't turn this way up. Yeah, the wheel doesn't turn that way, as expected. Now I'm pretty sure that this is going to be an interesting position, because this is the one where the hole in the back of these dials lines up with the rod, so it can come all the way down. And then, well, I don't know, and then I guess you want that ball bearing into a certain place. Maybe with the pin out so the ball bearing can come underneath the pin even. Is that the idea? Okay, now the ball bearing is underneath the pin. Okay, wow, yeah, I can feel it. I'm actually holding the ball bearing there. But what do I do now? I don't know. Okay, so what do I know? I know that having it placed here with the 4 at the bottom means something, because the rod that is in the back here can drop down. I know that pulling this pin out, holding it out, lets the ball bearing settle into the dip here, and then lets me hold the ball bearing in place with that pin. That is what I know. I just sort of feel as though that should be like it. I mean, having seen the inside, I just don't feel like there's anything else. Which means the layers all nicely aligned. Ball bearing underneath the pin. And then is it gonna... Oh wait, is this happening? No. Is that just... It's the problem I have with this puzzle is I can never quite tell what's real and what's just a sort of... Aha! That's real. That's gotta be real. Oh yes. Oh, finally. I don't know how long that took. It was probably about 3 hours. Oh, I see. Right, so it's actually the 3 layers that move. Yeah, and you can just see those screws just come through, just almost come through the 3 layers, but not quite. And that piece of shackle goes in there. Wow, that is a hard puzzle. Even after taking it apart, looking at all the pieces, putting it back together again, I still didn't know what to do. I did have from that the 2 clues I needed. I think that's just the 2 things, right? So all you have to do is have the hole under the 4 in exactly the right place for the rod to drop into. And you need to have the ball bearing. Right, so the ball bearing now can't move because presumably its channel is in these pieces. You need to have the ball bearing underneath the pin so that it isn't blocking these pieces from moving. And then you have to be confident enough that what you're doing is right to overcome the friction between the layers. Oh, what an amazing puzzle. I kind of love and kind of hate this puzzle now. I obviously, I can't possibly claim to have properly solved it because I had to take it apart and understand it in order to get there. So why won't it close now? Let me think. So the ball bearing is trapped up in this end. The rod must be trapped down there somewhere. I think this should just move. It's just very stiff. Oh, there we go. It's moving, but then it hits some resistance. Oh, I think it's just not quite. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you just have to really line it up perfectly. This bit of shackle here was hitting against this bit of wood because they weren't quite perfectly lined up. Whew, okay. All right, so now I think it's back in its original state, yeah. So what do I think of this puzzle? Yeah, I kind of hate it. I think it's brilliant. It's beautiful, as always, with these Constantin puzzles. It's ingenious. I love how much it looks like a combination padlock. That's very cool. If it was made of some strong metal, you know, if this was a real solid metal shackle, this would be a pretty good padlock, actually. I wouldn't consider it to be less secure than most real padlocks. I think it's a good fun puzzle. I think if you were to give it to somebody as a gift, you'd want to give them some hints to avoid them doing what I did. I'm not sure how those hints would go, but you know, don't try and remove pieces, something along those lines. But yeah, there we go. It's kind of an amazing puzzle. I think that's far and away the hardest wooden lock puzzle I've ever tried. Maybe it's the hardest lock puzzle of any kind that I've ever tried. I'm sorry that I didn't solve it properly. I feel kind of bad about that, although I sort of got there in the end, but it was definitely with a lot of extra information, having had the thing apart. But if in spite of that you enjoyed this video, then please click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and maybe even tell your friends about this channel if you think they might enjoy it. Thanks very much for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye.